Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back on the Mike, the premier business radio program. I'm your host, Mike King. I appreciate you being here with me. This is part of the Mike King Biz Radio Network, which is ESPN Rich 106.1. Even though we're coming to you from Classic Rock today, we're also on the Choice 105.3 International Business Good Radio. And now starting February 1st, we're going to be on CW Richmond, 5 a.m. Wednesdays and Fridays. We are taking our talents to TV. But you know what time it is? We got the man in the building, Henrico EDA's finest, Anthony Romanello, back with us again. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Mike. Great to be here.
And you brought something. Okay, let's get to the sales pitch. Tell us who you are and what you do.
I'm the executive director of the Henrico Economic Development Authority. We work every day to grow Henrico's economy,
which is booming.
It is. It's really, really strong. It's exciting to see what's happening all around the county.
Where are we compared to pre-pandemic levels? Are we sort of back?
We are definitely, in many ways, we're back, and in many ways we're stronger. The retail sector is very, very strong as people are coming back to stores. The industrial sector, data center, is the strongest it's ever been. A lot of activity in office space as folks are rethinking their office space needs, and certainly we've seen some downsizing like the rest of the country has, and so we're trying to make sure that we're as flexible as possible so people can reposition their properties effectively. But generally, we never stopped growing economically. Certainly slowed down some during the pandemic, but I would say that we are as charged up as ever. But it's definitely a different economy from what it was 3 years ago.
So when you first met, you schooled me on what's happening from an economic standpoint, which is the short pump gets all the glitz and glamour. The bills get paid on the East End. We're starting to hear the East End getting a lot of buzz too, with the projects that are going on over there. Sometimes do you fight the perception of people not understanding the value that the East End plays?
Well, I mean, we're all one county, and what's great about Henrico is the diversity of our economy. And yeah, we do have the corporate sector in Western Henrico and the industrial sector, data centers in Eastern Henrico. Those all together help make sure that we have a diverse economy. And what's important about having a diverse economy, Mike, is that when you have a pandemic or when you have a recession, you're more insulated from the places that are relying on one big industry or one big sector. The fact of the matter is we've got many slices of our economic pie chart, which makes us better able to weather the more difficult days. But I mean, I would tell you that to continue to provide the services we do and to continue to be a great community, we need all the engines firing in Henrico, the engines in the East and the engines in the West.
So shout out to you and your team. Hey, I guess congratulations are in order. Kayla got promoted.
She did. Kayla's now business manager, which more accurately reflects the contribution that she's been making. And Kayla Coleman's a rock star. We're really blessed to have her on the team.
It is true. Her and Ebony Atkins are out there. You guys really are great friends of the program. Talk a little bit about, a lot of times people think of economic development, the big deals that you hear the governors add, and you're standing there, the county administrator who's there as well. But a lot of times you guys are boots on the ground helping small businesses survive, open, and thrive every day.
That's actually, we love the big announcements. We love when the governor comes to town to cut a ribbon. I mean, those are exciting times. But the work that we're doing every day is with businesses of all sizes, from somebody who's an entrepreneur on up to our 6 corporations, the 5 Fortune 1000 corporations that are headquartered in Henrico, and everybody in between. I mean, it really doesn't matter the size. We work with everybody and try to either meet their needs or get them the help that they need. And during the pandemic, Mike, as you know, we were really working with restaurants. We were working with small retailers, a lot of partnership with the Chamber and the Retail Merchants Association to help folks survive the pandemic. That's an area where, as an organization, we hadn't worked in before, and that we're going to continue to work in to try to help those businesses continue to succeed. So I think, if anything, our mission has really broadened over the last couple of years as we've embraced all aspects of our economy, large, small, and in between.
the pub, so on the Mike King here, Anthony Romanello, Henrico Economic Development is with us. A lot of time the public doesn't see all the things that happens, and then there's a big ribbon cutting, and there's a big center, there's a big, business that opens up somewhere. We noticed the little things. Just recently on off West Broad, they had the little Lego store open.
Yeah.
That was crazy. The line was ridiculous.
Yes, it was.
So when you get businesses coming in, everyone wants to open a business. They want to be successful. And then the public sees that line right there, which is around the block.
Yeah, well, first off, a shout out to my colleagues down south, because the Lego factory that's going into Chesterfield is, that's a project of a lifetime. I've told Garrett Hart, Matt McLaren, Joe Casey, and those guys. They're Tom Brady. Don't go to the Bucks. It doesn't get any better than this. That's
for sure.
That's a great project. The proprietors of there's a chain across America. Yeah, they're a chain that sells used Legos. They've also have new Legos, and one of the things that's great about there, Mike, is that and I took my 5-year-old daughter with me, is they've got this big table right in the middle. And you can go in and make your own figure. You can pick the hair and the head and the torso. And if they, have a shield or some kind of a cape or something, and you can mix and match. And it's really a place that for somebody like me who grew up building Legos, that it just awakens creativity. It's a lot of fun. And you can go in there and spend $5. You can go in there and spend $500, whatever you want to do. They've also got the really complicated kits to build ships and the Statue of Liberty, way beyond my mental capabilities, but a lot of people like those Lego projects too. But yeah, that's exactly the kind of thing where it really puts us on the map, because that's something that's unique to the Richmond area, unique to Central Virginia, and you hope that people will come out and while they're there, visit the other stores in the area.
And that's what it does. So when you see something like that, that's a smashing success, it makes you feel good, because another business owner open, not sure, and then all of a sudden that verified what the reason that they opened.
Yeah, it was like you said, it was crazy the morning that they opened to see the line around the building. The store could have, I think, about 30 people in it at one time, and people waited. I think a few people waited a few hours to get in, which is and it was cold that morning.
Yeah, that wasn't a nice day.
No, and people were going to wait to get those Legos, which I think is really great. So and it's a real credit to the entrepreneurial spirit of the owners, and we're happy to help them. That was a small business development center project, and I know you've talked to Rodney Williams before, and Rodney, we stood up the small business development center here in Richmond during the pandemic, and they've been a great aid to small businesses throughout the region.
So really quickly, give folks an idea of what the SBDC does.
Yeah, they're an entity, Mike, that for small businesses to get resources, if you need help with a business plan, if you need help with taxes, with accounting, they've got resources to help you stand up a small business or to help your small business grow. And it's the technical support that they provide, and we work hand in glove with them.
One of Mike Anthony Romanello said, when he comes, the man comes bearing gifts. Last time it was cookies from Nabisco.
Right.
This time he brought me a ring light, so here I'm just, he's helping out the mug there. But we always thank him for all the great things. But this is better than the cookies, because the cookies I'm trying to,
Me too, Mike. But you always keep us in the spotlight. I wanted you to be in the spotlight.
Okay, we're here. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, Anthony Romanello. Alrighty, so you were here. You got your paper with you. You got some good news. Clearly, I know you're not here with breaking news, because every time, that's the journalistic part. You're going to ask a question and you know that they're not going to answer. So, Anthony, any breaking news you'd like to drop on us today?
As I always say, Mike, there's a lot of things I'd love to tell you, but I can't tell you. What I will tell you is that we are working now more major projects over $1 billion. Than we ever have in the history of Henrico. And what you're seeing nationally, and we're no exception in Henrico, is that there are these mega projects, data centers, semiconductor, advanced manufacturing projects that are out there. There's more of them than ever, because our economy is so strong right now. And we're going to see I think some really exciting announcements in the future.
Alrighty, so Anthony Romanello, Henrico EDA is here with us. How do we get to the point where How do we get to the point where we're getting billion-dollar deals coming to you, or the opportunities for them?
Well, I think it's certainly a reflection of the national economy, particularly the interest in onshoring manufacturing, again, bringing pharmaceutical manufacturing back to the U.S., bringing semiconductor manufacturing back to the U.S. And then just because, my community, I mean, Henrico, the Board of Supervisors, the county manager, the entire administration, all the development agencies really are focused on getting to yes. I mean, that's what they do, is they get to yes. And that reputation makes the business community want to do business with us. And I would say too, that with the investment that the county mothers and fathers have made over a generation in terms of infrastructure, water and sewer, Dominion is a great partner with Power, have really positioned us well to attract some of these larger projects.
When I talked to the folks over across the river down in Chesterfield about the Lego deal, someone was pitching that property there to make that possible years ago. So how does someone go out with the foresight to say, we need to set this land aside for a deal that may be 25 years down the road?
Well, I think you've really answered the question, and that's what Chesterfield does. That's what we do, is that we are both communities that can be patient and can
It takes patience.
It does take patience. That there's political support for the patience to wait for the right deal. If we wanted to sell our land in White Oak, if they wanted to sell all their land in the Meadowville Technology Park, that land would have been sold years ago. But we really evaluate each project on its merits and how it fits Henrico, and waiting for just that right project to come in that's going to help grow our economy and be a project that's consistent with who we are as a community.
So sometimes, so this is one of the great parts about having your own show is you can ask the questions. So land is set aside. Maybe the finances for a county are kind of shaky, wobbly. The choice is either I can hold on to that and wait for a deal that may come down the road, or either we could take the money and sell it right now. In reality, is that the way things happen sometimes?
No, I mean, it could be in other communities, but what you've got here is, we're AAA rated by all three rating agencies, and you've got a community that understands economic development. We know who we are as a community. And so a lot of the times in economic development, we do say no to projects because they're not consistent with who we are. Heavy industry, for example, not consistent with who we are as a community. And getting to yes is critical, but sometimes saying no to one project is saying yes to another one and waiting for that project. I'm fortunate that I work in a community that's very strong fiscally and doesn't have to take every deal that comes through the door.
So so you guys go out and find deals, correct?
We do, and
along with
the state and with Greater Richmond Partnership.
So you guys go look for deals.
We do,
but also deals come to you.
They do,
and that's when you're saying we pick and choose. That deal may not be right for us.
Absolutely. We'll get a profile from the company. We get an understanding of the project. And I mean, I'll give you an example, Mike. There was one that came through a couple of years ago. It was a multi-$100 million project to come in that would be slaughtering pigs. And I like bacon as much as the next guy, but that's not us. And so we said, no, thank you.
One of Mike Anthony Romanello is here. Alrighty, so this is the opportunity is yours. What big, new, and exciting things can you tell us about?
Well, a lot is happening. You've heard about Virginia Center Commons. The indoor arena is well under construction. That is going to be operational this fall. They're already scheduling sporting events there, and then graduations for Henrico high schools in 2024. So that's a key linchpin in the rebirth of Virginia Center Commons right there at Interstate 95 and Route 1. The Green City project that we've talked about before should break ground this year also on the arena and the redevelopment of the old Best Products office building. That's our $2 billion eco district. So things happening there. In the eastern part of the county, as I mentioned, where we do have some available sites, there's a lot of activity now with data centers and with advanced manufacturing. And We need to get you out one day to White Oak Technology Park, Mike, and see the construction that Facebook or Meta is doing in completing their data center complex, and QTS is doing in expanding their data center complex, because it's pretty remarkable. And one of the things I love about White Oak Technology Park is when you go out there, I see a ton of my favorite birds, cranes. They are everywhere, and we love to see that.
And people say cranes in the sky equal economic health.
They do. They
Is that
absolutely
really
do.
true?
They absolutely do. It means tax revenues. I mean, that's how we pay for good schools, for good libraries, for police officers, for firefighters. I mean, that's how you keep a community strong, is by growing the economic base so we can provide quality services at a price our citizens and businesses can afford.
Is it true that Navy Hill project came to Henrico? That they didn't come to you, but whatever, that project ended up in Henrico. Is it the same project?
It's a somewhat similar project. I mean, it's a very different site. The Navy Hill project was downtown. And this is greenfield and a redevelopment on the Best Product site, the site that the county and the EDA own at Parham and Route 1. But after City Council turned down Navy Hill, some of the principals of that project then came to Henrico and said, hey, would you like to consider the project? And that's where Green City was born.
How long is that project for you guys to say, yes, this is something that we'd like to do?
Well, there was a full vetting that was done with the principals. And I don't know the exact timing, Mike, but I would say it was probably close to a year.
Okay, so we don't just take a project that was turned down, the city didn't want it, and it pops up in Henrico.
Exactly. Oh,
It
yeah.
doesn't work like that.
No. There's a lot of conversations. There's a lot of discussions, vetting between the county principals and the developer, just to make sure that everything is right. And what's really exciting about that, the Board of Supervisors just approved, and the Community Development Authority, which is going to be the financing arm for the arena, appointed members to that CDA. So things are really moving forward.
On the mic, Mike, this is the best business, we're the only daily business radio program. Why? Because we get the best and the brightest out here. Anthony Romanello is with us. How can people get information about Henrico EDA?
www.henrico.com. Check us out on the web.
Already, for small businesses, words of wisdom. You see a lot of people out there. You talk to a number of people. What's the mood from a business standpoint as we're getting into? We were waiting for 2023 for a very long time.
Yeah.
Now we're into February already. What's the mood on the street as far as business goes?
I think everybody's excited that the pandemic seems to be mostly in the rearview mirror. People are nervous about inflation. They're nervous about what the Fed might do with interest rates. And I think that when I hear experts speak, and I'm not one of them, Mike, but I've heard a number of economists speak in the last few months. And what's fascinating about what they're saying is that the key theme that I'm hearing is that we are breaking new ground with this economy, with a very high inflation, relatively high inflation, relatively high interest rates, at least based on the last 20 years. And then relatively low unemployment is something that we just really haven't seen in recent economies, and folks are trying to feel their way through it. I mean, certainly when things settle out with the Fed and when we get some interest rate stability, I think we'll see even more investment as folks feel more comfortable with things. But I would say that everybody I'm talking to is still bullish on America's economy. There are some uncertainties now. And certainly, the war in Ukraine has impacted all of us with fuel prices, energy prices, and we certainly pray that comes to an end, not just economically, but just so the people of Ukraine can live their lives. But that certainly is also another. So there's macroeconomic factors that I think give people some anxiety, but long term, what I'm hearing is that folks remain bullish on America, and they're certainly bullish on Henrico.
And you guys are back on the road again, the international travel. How's that working?
It's going well. We've got a colleague that's headed to to Europe this weekend for a week of meetings with businesses. This isn't international travel, but I'm headed to Hartford, Connecticut next month with the Greater Richmond Partnership. We're going to go talk to some insurance companies about why they should do business in balmy Virginia versus ice cold Connecticut. So that's why we're going in February instead of July, to try to convey that message and help to grow that sector, which is very strong in the Richmond area.
And okay, so you're going, explain to our listeners or the people who don't get it. It's not always a competitive thing between Henrico, Chesterfield, the city.
No.
So you go with Greater Richmond Partnerships and the great thing that Jennifer and her team are doing. Explain to the listeners out there why that's important and how it works.
Yeah, we work really closely together with all of our GRP partners, Hanover, Chesterfield, and the city. And I will tell you, we do compete for projects from time to time, but it's very rare because each of us has a different product. And when we go on these call trips, we'll go with at least 2 localities, if not more, and we go to sell the region because, you know, a win like Lego, a win like Facebook, a win like a new hospital in Hanover, and a win like CoStar, those are all wins for the region. Those aren't wins for the city and Chesterfield and Hanover and Henrico alone. Those are a win for the region, and that's what it's all about.
Because a person doesn't know they're staying in Henrico, they're going to this in Chesterfield, they went to Richmond, they just know they came to Richmond.
Absolutely. And, you know, we're all about being one region and making sure that folks understand the collective benefit. You know, as we pivot our marketing, Mike, and we talk more and more about quality of life, because, you know, one of the big sea changes, we tested the internet during the pandemic. We now know that knowledge workers can work anywhere in the world as long as they have Wi-Fi. So why not move to Richmond? Why not live here and enjoy the quality of life that you and I enjoy, where there's relatively low traffic and the cost of living is reasonable relative to other communities, and the restaurant scene and the James River and all of the amenities that we enjoy right here in Greater Richmond. And so, yeah, we're still talking about tax rates, and we're still talking about bond ratings, and we're still talking about speedy permitting. But more importantly, we're now marketing directly to workers and saying, this is a place to be, this is a place to live, to raise your family, to have your kids go to school. And oh, by the way, a great place to work.
One of the things when we talked to Elephant Insurance, the CEO said he was sure remote working wouldn't work. 2 weeks into it, he said he had never changed his mind something so big, so fast, to realize that you're able now to recruit workers because people can live anywhere.
Yeah, they really can. And, you know, I think that people say, you know, what's going to happen with remote work? And my answer would be, ask me in 5 years, because it's truly a mixed bag right now. We have companies that have gone fully remote, partially remote. We have companies that as soon as people were vaccinated, everybody came back to the office. It really goes back to their corporate philosophy, and we have to remain flexible to make sure that we can meet their demands. But, you know, we as the world tested the internet the last 3 years, and it worked.
It worked, and you guys are right there. You know, I understand the remote working piece, but there's certain things that happen when people get together that doesn't happen. And I talked to HR folks, you know, you always had the first day, you know, your Bob is over here, Jim is over here, Sue is over there. The camaraderie that you have to work at to make that really work. How do you create the culture in it? And really quickly want to get out the question, how do you set the culture in an organization that sets the tone for everybody to be successful?
Well, I think, you know, we focus on our role to serve the people and the businesses of Henrico, which is a real honor to be able to do that every day that we come to work. And at the end of the day, what we're doing in growing the economy for Henrico is about helping families succeed. And that's really important work. It's fun work, and it's really important work. And we stay focused on that with every interaction that we have.
There you go, Anthony Romanello, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to thank you for coming. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mike.
And once again, people can find you guys out there, Henrico EDA.
Henrico.com.
That's it. All righty. So one of the best business radio program around. We got to go. So as I always say, make sure you take a listen to our sponsors and advertisers, because as I always say, the microphone ain't free. Plus my grandkids need stuff. So, you know, make sure you support them as we go along. Thanks now. Take care.